The Great Depression, spanning from 1929 to 1939. What caused the Great Depression? The Great Depression began in the United States in 1929 with the stock market crash known as Black Tuesday, which occurred on October 29. However, this event was only the tip of the iceberg. The main causes included stock market speculation, excessive lending, and unequal distribution of income. Interesting fact. In the 1920s, many investors bought stocks with borrowed money, which created a bubble. When it burst, millions of people lost their savings. How did the Great Depression affect the world economy? The Depression affected not only the United States, but most countries in the world. Exports and imports declined sharply, leading to a drop in production and massive bankruptcies. In Germany, for example, unemployment reached 30% by 1932. Interesting fact, the Great Depression contributed to the growth of nationalist movements in Europe, which in turn contributed to the outbreak of World War II. What impact did the Great Depression have on the social structure of society? During the Depression, many people lost their jobs and livelihoods, causing significant changes in the social structure. Migrations of people in search of work increased, especially in Western America. Interestingly, many families were forced to live in valleys, tent cities where conditions were extremely harsh. What measures were taken by the U.S. government to combat the Depression? Well, President Franklin D. Roosevelt implemented the New Deal program, which included a wide range of economic and social reforms. These were measures to rebuild the banking system, create jobs, and help farmers. And here's an interesting fact. The New Deal became a model for many countries, and its ideas later formed the basis of modern social and economic programs. How did the Great Depression affect culture and the arts? The Depression had a significant impact on cultural expression. Many artists, writers, and musicians began to reflect people's suffering and hopes in their works. For example, the novel The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck became a symbol of the era. And interestingly, folk songs reflecting the lives of ordinary people and their struggles became popular during this time. What was the role of women during the Great Depression? Women became an important part of the labor force, especially in traditionally male-dominated fields. Many women worked in low-paying jobs to support families. Interestingly, the Great Depression contributed to the growth of the feminist movement as women began to demand equal rights and opportunities. How did the Great Depression affect agriculture? Well, agriculture really suffered because of falling prices for agricultural products and severe drought. Many farmers unfortunately lost their land and were forced to migrate in search of a better life. An interesting fact here is that dust storms, which were caused by poor farming practices, came to symbolize the environmental disasters of this time. How did the Great Depression change the government's role in the economy? The Depression caused the government to become more involved in the economy. New agencies and programs were created to regulate and support the economy. An interesting fact is that this led to the modern idea of the welfare state, where the government takes responsibility for the welfare of the citizens. How did the international community respond to the Great Depression? The international community faced problems related to trade and finance. Many countries introduced protectionist measures which exacerbated the situation. Interesting fact, the famous Smoot-Hawley tariff of 1930 in the USA led to retaliatory tariffs by other countries and deepened the economic crisis. How did the Great Depression end? The Great Depression began to recede into the past in the late 1930s, but it was not fully overcome until after the outbreak of World War II, when demand for products and labor increased. Interesting fact, many economists believe that it was war production that helped rebuild the U.S. economy, which was one of the factors in the victory over Nazism. The Great Depression left a deep mark on human history, changing the economic, social, and cultural landscapes. Studying this period allows us to better understand contemporary economic and social processes, as well as the importance of government intervention in times of crisis.